Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tear into a book that's an absolute must-read for any trader, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. And its core idea? Well, it turns everything you think you know about trading on its head. It argues the secret to success, it's not in the charts, it's inside your own mind.
You know, most of us, when we start out, we think making money is all about finding that perfect strategy, right? That one secret indicator. But Douglas comes in with this really radical claim. He says the biggest battle you'll ever face as a trader, it's not against the market, it's against yourself. All right, let's kick things off with a little question, and this one comes straight from the book. To make money as a trader, you have to know what the market is going to do next. Do you agree or disagree? Seriously, think about it. What's your gut reaction? Because as we're about to find out, your answer says a lot about whether your mindset is wired for success or for failure. And that really gets to the heart of the whole book. That gap, you know the one, between being a boom and bust trader and a consistently profitable one, it has almost nothing to do with your charts or your analysis. It has everything to do with mastering what's going on between your ears. Okay, so if the market isn't the enemy, then what is? What's the real obstacle that's standing between you and the kind of consistency you're looking for?
This is where Douglas makes such a critical point. He says, look, anyone can click a button and be a trader, but the folks who win day in and day out, it's like they're playing a different sport altogether. They don't have a crystal ball. They just think differently. They operate from a completely different mental framework than the other 95% of us, and that is their entire edge.
I mean, let's be honest. This is why we're all drawn to trading, right? This idea of unlimited freedom. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. No boss, no rules, just you and the market. But here's the paradox. That exact same freedom, that total lack of structure, that's exactly what makes trading so incredibly dangerous for our minds. See, our brains are ancient hardware. They've evolved over millions of years to do one thing really, really well. Keep us safe. Protect us from pain, protect us from threats. It's a fantastic feature if you're trying to avoid a saber-toothed tiger, but it becomes a catastrophic bug when you're trying to trade.
Douglas has a name for this. He calls it the pain avoidance trap. Here's how it works. You put on a trade, and the market immediately starts moving against you. To your brain, that's not just some red numbers on a screen. It feels like a real emotional threat. And so, your subconscious pain avoidance system just kicks into overdrive, and what happens next is wild. You start to literally distort what you're seeing on the chart. You'll start seeing patterns that aren't there, all to avoid the pain of admitting you're wrong. To really drive this point home, Douglas uses this brilliant analogy. It perfectly explains how our minds cook up these fears that end up sabotaging us. Okay, so think about it. The child gets one bad bite. From that moment on, his brain doesn't go, is this specific dog friendly? Nope. It just takes that one painful memory and slaps it onto every single dog he sees. The fear isn't about the dogs anymore, it's coming from inside his own head. And this is exactly what happens to us traders. One big loss, and suddenly we're scared to pull the trigger on the next 10 perfect setups, all because we're projecting that old pain.
And this leads us to what is maybe the biggest turning point in the whole book. The idea that your beliefs, they aren't just passive thoughts floating around in your head. They are active filters. They literally control what you can and cannot see in the market.
And to show you just how powerful this is, Douglas talks about this amazing real-world experiment. Picture this. It's 1987, a busy street in Chicago. A TV show hires a guy to stand there with a sign that says free money and a wad of cash, literally trying to give it away to anyone who walks by.
So what do you think? We're talking thousands and thousands of people walking past on one of the busiest streets in the city. Out of all of them, how many do you think actually stopped to take the cash?
The answer is one. Just one person. And get this, they didn't even take a handful of bills. They just asked for a quarter to catch the bus. It's unbelievable, right?
So what on earth was going on? It all came down to a single belief. Free money isn't real. It has to be a trick. That one belief acted like a pair of glasses that filtered their entire reality. It made them expect a scam so they couldn't even see the genuine opportunity that was literally right in front of their faces. Their own belief made it invisible.
Okay, so if our old beliefs are like bad software that makes us blind, then we need to install a new operating system. To trade without fear, Douglas says we have to install 5 fundamental truths about the market, and I mean really, really internalize them.
These are what Douglas calls the 5 fundamental truths. Let's go through them. Number 1, anything can happen. Really, anything. Number 2, you don't need to know what will happen next to make money. That's a huge one. Number 3, for any given edge, there's a random distribution between wins and losses. Number 4, an edge isn't a guarantee, it's just a higher probability of one thing happening over another. And finally, number 5, every single moment in the market is unique. Once you truly deeply accept these truths, that's when the fear starts to disappear.
And once you adopt those truths, it leads to what I like to call the trader's paradox. And it's a total mental flip. Think about it. The amateur trader is super flexible on their rules. They're always breaking them. But they're super rigid on their expectations for each trade. They need it to be a winner. The pro? They do the exact opposite. They are absolutely rigid with their rules, but completely flexible on what happens on any one trade.
And when you finally make that flip, when those 5 truths aren't just ideas, but are your core beliefs, that's when you create the perfect mental environment to achieve that state of peak performance that we all hear about. Athletes call it the zone, and guess what? Traders can get there too.
Now, the zone isn't some kind of magical, mystical state. It's actually pretty simple. It's just the natural result of having a mindset that no longer sees the market as a threat. When you've truly accepted the risk, when you've accepted the 5 truths, you can finally see what the market is offering with total clarity, and you can act on it without fear or hesitation.
And this is such a key takeaway. So many of us try to force consistency through sheer willpower, right? Gritting our teeth and trying harder. But it doesn't work. Douglas says consistency isn't something you do, it's a state of mind. It's a natural byproduct of having the right beliefs in the first place.
So, in the end, what is the market? It's basically just a giant mirror. It does nothing but reflect your own beliefs and your own fears right back at you. The freedom it offers is incredible, but have you built the mental structure to actually handle it? Because until you change that internal world, your external results, they're just not going to change.